So, fortune cookies just went everywhere. Why? Because today is Fortune Cookie Day, September the 13th. And just so you guys know, Fortune Cookie Day is a holiday where you go out and obviously celebrate with fortune cookies. And they are like a sweet biscuit that always holds those clairvoyant messages and like some lucky numbers that sometimes people use for the lottery and stuff. So, what people generally do to celebrate this day is go out and treat friends or family to a delicious Chinese meal. And since I can't really afford that at the moment, and I didn't think about that, with the final course after the Chinese meal being a plate of fortune cookies, which would be really awesome. So, if you have money and you want to treat friends and family to a very unique holiday, make them go to a Chinese restaurant with you and get them a plate of fortune cookies at the end. And then also, if you want to celebrate this but you're worried about your calories or your intake, to be honest, these cookies really are more of a low-fat snack compared to other cookies that you could have. Just one of these cookies holds 130 calories. Total fat 1 gram, no saturated fat or trans fat, 25 milligrams of potassium. Now that's actually pretty amazing because I would have never guessed that these had potassium in them. And that's actually really good for like cramps and stuff. But I have these fortune cookies right here. This brand is La Choy. And the cool thing about this is it wasn't very expensive. I think it was like one something or something. And it comes like with a whole box. And that could last you for way over the holiday for sure. Because I'm not going to eat all of these. There's no way at all. But maybe next time we celebrate this, if we ever get to again, what I will do is take somebody to Chinese and give them some cookies afterwards, or we'll just invite some friends over and do so, which I would have done today, but I got home really late, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I'm getting my videos out in the way that I want to. But we're going to open up 2 fortune cookies, eat them, and read the lucky fortune. So these are our channel fortune cookies. Let's see what they say. I hope it's something good, you know, for the channel's sake. Alright, 1. What does this say? Your talents will be recognized and suitably rewarded. Maybe this will be something really awesome for us here at the Celestial Guardian Alliance. Alright, let's go ahead. Second one. Let's see. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. It's so sweet. La, 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 la. Okay. Take the chance while you still have the choice. Take what chance? What is our chances for the channel? I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. I mean, I am trying my best to make sure that we are getting some videos out in a timely manner. But anyways, let's take a snack, attack, and see what this is like. Okay. These here are actually really, really good. There's a light hint of sweetness in it, where it's not overpowering, but not underpowering either. You can definitely taste a hint of butter, a little bit of salt, and they're very crunchy. So, for the price, and I mean, like, I love fortune cookies anyways, but to me, this was actually a pretty good buy and a really interesting way to celebrate a September holiday. So, for next month, we'll alternate again, in a sense, when I'm able to, you know, keep up and stuff. But if there is a holiday that you would like to see us celebrate next month, leave a comment below and let me know what holiday you would like for us to celebrate, and that will help for your entry into the giveaway. And so let's get started and head to the table to do our game rolls. So, to begin with our celebration of the Holiday Extravaganza, first I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be rolling to basically see what we're going to open. One is pre-recordings. I still have quite a bit of those. Two is TCG product or finds. Could be like eBay things or yard sale things or just things that I found. 3 is previous mystery boxes. 4 are TV show reviews or reactions. 5 is eBay lots. 6 is the anime figure box that I had where there's a big bunch of figures in there and we still haven't seen them all. So the reason why this background is a little bit different right now with me cleaning and trying to get the cats, you know, to feel better and stuff, we are cleaning a lot, so there's like 3 cats on the table right now, I guess just trying to make sure they have a place to stay and just lay down and relax. So I'm having to do this for now, but soon we should be okay and back to our normal setting, I hope. So first I'm going to give away a code that is for UK users. It is for a free Graze box. And you get like, so I think like 4 different snacks or something, and they say it's for new UK grazers only, so in case you want to try that out and you live in the UK and stumble across this. And then also for all you other people, I am giving away this booster pack code for XY Evolutions: 9JM, BVNH, RDJ, HBH. Again, 9JM, BVNH, RDJ, HBH. So good luck to whoever gets this. I hope you guys get some decent pulls. Let us know in the comment section below, please. And we'll get started. And it looks like today we have Cheshire joining us. Well, hello, Mr. Cheshire. So I'm going to see if we can... Okay, that landed on 1. So that's kind of nice on our part. So you guys just sit back and enjoy the pre-recorded footage that will start playing now. We are going to start with our Back to the Future prop replica license plate, which I thought was really cool. It looks really awesome. And the fact that they put out of time, I think that's kind of cool. So, Back to the Future prop replica. I gave that a 9 out of 10, no, an 8 out of 10, and its value was $20, which I thought was really cool. And just so you guys know, I'm getting my prices off of eBay for the lowest buy it now, or if I see a bunch of bids going for a certain amount, pretty much using that. So our next is the retro sunglasses. So I think they look really, really neat. I have no idea what they looked like on me, but wow, that is like super awesome. They just look really awesome. I've never seen anything like this before in form of sunglasses. So I gave them a 9 out of 10 for the just being, it just feels like it is the theme. It meets the theme requirements. It looks really cool. It's got like that shine. So overall, I gave those a 9 out of 10, and I found that they're worth about $17, but that's including shipping. So, and there was only 1 listing for those that I actually found. Not to say that there aren't more. But then there was the exclusive BAM pin, the Truffle Shuffle. And you could have gotten a variant pin of black and gold. I actually got the regular pin. I don't really like the design of the pen. I don't really recognize or understand it. It says that it's from the artist Nick Kokoza from nostalgic scenes from the 80s movie The Truffle Shuffle and the famous dance from the Chunk and the hit The Goonies. So that might be because I don't know anything about these, but I really do not find that guy attractive. He looks kind of creepy. Kind of like a zombie. Ah! So anyways, I gave it a 6 out of 10 just because the dude creeped me out. And it's worth about $7. Still not bad for a pen, you know. And then we got this amazing original pencil sketch. And you could have gotten a mixture of things. You could have gotten a sketch from He-Man, She-Ra, The Real Ghostbusters, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Star Wars Droids, Star Wars Ewoks, My Pet Monster, and Back to the Future. We got our authentication certificate, and we got a sketch from My Pet Monster, and honestly I think this is pretty cute. I mean, that is pretty awesome to get an original anyways, and like there's the little codes and stuff for it. So I thought that was really crafty and really awesome on Bambox's part. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And also, just for everybody's sake, if you're gonna send something original or any type of poster, I would highly suggest, if you're doing a mystery box, put it in a cardboard box like Bambox has done and Loot Crate has done in the past, because they don't bend, and a lot of people don't want bent posters. They want to be able to hang them up without creases and stuff. So our next item was Ralph, I don't really know how to pronounce this, Macchio, signed the Karate Kid print, and I thought it was really awesome. Like, that is totally awesome. And here we have up close the signature. It is legit. It has been authenticated by the Bambox. See, the Bambox is an authentication website as well for like signatures, so that's pretty cool for them to come out with a box in general. So this is actually something completely different. You can go onto the Bambox website. It says here, post a picture of your favorite item in the box using the Bambox, and you can win a arcade, Super Nintendo, NES game, the Ninja Turtles, and it's signed by Kevin Eastman, which I think is really cool. Look at that. Like, I would love to have that. That is so cool. But that is not all. You also get a Bambox exclusive print from Rock Davies, which is from the Ghostbusters movie. And the cool thing is that you can, most people got a signed, numbered, slimmer art print. I think it was like out of 2,000. And then 500 would receive a red 1-up card for the Ecto Cooler variant. So, believe it or not, look at who got a 1-up card. Woo! So the main difference is there's only 500 of these. It's signed in orange instead of the green or yellow. And it has a BAM juice, retro juice, in the Ghost Sand. Well, in the original, if you see, there is no juice, and it's signed in like a yellow greenish pen. So those are like the differences. But I thought that was so epic that we actually got a 1-up. So with this in mind, I didn't tell you the ratings of all of these. So the value of the original sketch of the My Pet Monster was worth about 20 bucks, and then the signed print here of the Karate Kid was worth $20 to $30, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. I gave this a 10 out of 10 because we got a 1-up. And it is completely awesome and rare, and it's worth $30 plus. And I saw some listings that were worth up to about $50. So that is really cool. So with that in mind, on the low end for this box, it's $119 worth of stuff for about 35 to 40 bucks. I'm pretty sure they've raised the prices, so I don't know the price anymore because I pay the same price that I signed up for. So that's kind of nice. And then I gave it a 10 out of 10 for the coolness, and then our average rating for the entire box was at 8.7 out of 10, so really close to a 9, and personally I would push it up to a 9 just because of the value. But it makes you pretty much get a profit of $84 from your box, and possibly even more depending on what your variants sell for. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's go on and see what we roll for our second choice. I think we're going to roll 4 times and see what happens. So again, we roll. Oh, and this time we manage a 5. Now what is our number 5 spot? Let me see. Oh, an eBay lot. Well, now I did throw something kind of extra in there that is not really an eBay lot, but I think you guys might enjoy it. So Nightwish came, I want to say, I think it was either last year or the year before, and I went to see their concert, and I had a friend that went to see their concert. Well, I didn't get to get any autographs, or I didn't actually get to meet them because I didn't get that specific ticket, but they're coming again this next year in March, and I'm thinking about trying to get the meet and greet ticket. It just depends on how much it is, and I think my cousins might be going with me, or maybe my cousin and my brother, so we'll try to do like little video logs or something. But hopefully our batteries can actually last a little bit longer this time. I'm hoping that I have excuse me, sorry, enough space to get quite a bit of footage. But anyways, so I got this little note, and it says, I felt weird just sending $1. This is a drawing I did listening to Beauty and the Beast by Nightwish. So I'm glad you enjoyed the concert. Next Louisville concert you want to go to, let me know. You can crash at my place. So I thought that was kind of neat. That was one of my friends who likes Nightwish as well. But they drew this picture. If you guys haven't, you should check out the Beauty and Beast song by Nightwish. But I thought this drawing was really sick, and I kind of forgot that I had it. But that's not all we got. We got a dollar bill signed by all the people in the Nightwish, oh, what's it called? Group. There was Thomas Halipin, I think, Troy maybe, or something. Oh my gosh, I forgot the singer's name. Oh, Floor. So I don't really know where her signature is, because it's kind of hard to see like who's who on this. But anyways, I thought it was really neat that I got a signed dollar by the band Nightwish when I don't have any signatures. So I'll probably definitely do something with this dollar bill. And this drawing, I think I'll add to our little drawings that we use on the lucky board. Alright, so let's see what we get next. So he finally moved. We got a 4 this time, so this is our third roll, and we got a 4. I don't know why this is having such a hard time focusing. But our number 4 spot, oh, is a TV show review or reaction. So we're going to start, oh, there we go. I wish I had done that before. So sit back, enjoy. So we're doing our third part in the Holiday Extravaganza for the reviews. Which, by the way, I've changed it. I know I said I was going to do a review of something particular and then like a reaction and blah blah blah, but I have actually made a system for the Alliance review spot. I think that's what it's called. And so I have like an alteration of what we're going to be doing between reviews and reactions, and also alternating between books and TV shows and movies. But we're going to get this started. What we're starting with our first review in this particular episode, and this will be the second review we've done on the channel, I think, as far as this type of stuff goes. We have 07 Ghost, episode 1. This is an anime, and the first episode is called The Future of Painful Thoughts Is. So I came up with this system, and I gave myself like some questions as if I was, giving a real review to this, and also rating so that we can get an average rating, kind of like we do for our boxes. So the visual effects of this episode. So most of it was just in like present time animation, clear, crystal clear. But then there were some visual effects where when there was a dream and a memory, it was kind of like noisy or like kind of looked faded, and that was definitely using a certain video technique of blurring and using like discoloration to bring that to your attention that this is not in the present, this is a dream or a memory or something. And that was actually really well expressed, and the specific dream and memories that we were seeing is of the main character, Taito. So because of this, I gave visual effects a 10 out of 10. So does the title make sense? And, the title is 07 Ghost. So for the anime series title, right now, we really don't know too much about it. We can maybe guess from like pictures we've seen, intro, outros type things, but we're still not 100% sure what that means. So the episode title, The Future of Painful Thoughts, is, well, in my mind, the painful thoughts was part of the memory and just things that were instigated and triggered whenever Taito hears like a ringing sound in the hallway when he's in his academy. All of this is taking place there. So far, to me, the actual episode title did clearly fit because the memory triggers painful thoughts. And as we follow the rest of the episode, we can see that there is definitely some tension, and you can tell there's some revenge type thoughts going on because the commander that came in to observe the graduation exam killed his father, but he doesn't see that until the little ringing noise happens. So maybe I should definitely put in the description that there are some spoilers in this, but it's just episode 1, so don't freak out. I'm not always going to do a review either, so I'll probably alternate between review and reactions. But so far, this series seems interesting. I just don't completely understand it yet. So the title, I gave it an 8 out of 10. So for the storyline, well, I have given you some of the storyline already, but it does follow 2 of the students, Mikage and Taito, who are currently really good friends, and they are in this academy to test and practice and also prepare themselves for a graduation exam so that they can be accepted or denied into the army. So what we discover is that only 19 pass, and of course Mikage and Taito actually pass. And that scene is actually really cool. We learn that Taito's nightmare was actually a memory, and he possesses something very powerful, which I don't remember what it's called, and it's very important. And when that memory is triggered, whenever he remembers that the commander killed his father, he actually runs into the room and attacks the commander, and obviously fails. He's powerful, but he's not as powerful as some of these other people who have been, battling and killing people for who knows how long. But the commander throws him in prison and, wants to question him about all these certain things, like, who is this kid who just randomly attacked me? There's got to be some kind of, underlying thing going on there. And we don't see Taito tell him why. But what we do see later is that Mikage finds out that Taito is held captive, and then goes down to help him escape. But when he gets there, he realizes that Taito killed all the guards. So Mikage offers to help, and at first Taito's like, no, I don't want you mixed up in this, but Mikage's like, who cares? He's just like, no. we made a pact that we would never abandon each other and we would always be friends. So, in my opinion, based on all this information that we have been given, I think it is a great beginning to the series. There's a lot of questions left. We want to know, okay, so why did the commander kill Taito's father? And why is Taito have to be on a run now? Like, why is the commander after this, I forgot what it's called, like, Eye of whatever. And why does this piece make a necklace powerful? Like, what the heck is going on? So, I mean, like, it does make you feel like you want to know more about the storyline. And so far, it seems to lay it out in a very detailed manner. So I gave the storyline a 10 out of 10. And then now we go to the animation. To me, the animation was brilliant, filled with vibrant colors, lots of different types of like structures, and just the transition of everything was nice. There wasn't much blurring or noise unless it was like the memory or the dream. But just to put into perspective, I do have a super amazing TV, which does make a difference. It actually shows a lot more of the I forgot what you call it, frames per second than other TVs, so it really slows down that action for me so that I can see what's actually going on, the detail. Like, it was crazy because I was watching Avatar on my TV and I can tell every single spot that is fake on that movie now, and I couldn't tell that before. But it's crazy, like, you can tell what parts of the background were just like paper running through, like going across the wall just to show that they were flying. It's crazy. But regardless, I thought the animation was really nice. So I gave that a 10 out of 10. So then we get to the voice acting. And what you have to realize is where I'm watching this, I am actually hearing the Japanese voiceover. So I don't know about the English voiceover. Maybe if you guys go check it out, you can let me know. But from where I'm watching it and how the characters are communicating with each other and reacting, to me, the Japanese voiceover makes the characters feel really realistic. And I didn't really hear any type of acting that was overdone or that was under expectations. And I do feel like that it introduced the characters in a believable manner when you have a good voice actor or voice actress. And I do believe most of what we have seen so far have been actors. There's like one actress so far in this series, or voice actress to say. So I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I feel pretty strongly that it was a very nice, matchup. So then I go to the rewatch value. So for this particular episode, because there's so much information and content that we see that makes you kind of want to make sure that you're picking up every little thing that you can, because I kind of feel like this series is going to be definitely something that you want to pay attention to the details. And in my opinion, this particular episode is rewatchable and would be enjoyable to watch again. And as we all know, there are some anime episodes in other series where we have like filler episodes where some of them might be enjoyable, some of them might be like, really, I just want to get on with this. So I didn't feel that way with this episode. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So then we go to character design, which kind of again touches on the actor perspective too, but the design in general, I feel like the Taito is a very strong character, and he is the main character, so that makes sense. But he kind of gives off this serious vibe. He is rather kind-hearted, though, because he actually shows mercy when, they tell him that he was supposed to kill this person. He's kind of like, I guess, arrogant when it comes to listening to people in a way, if he doesn't really feel that it needs to be done. He's like, why should I care? Why should I do that? So, he has like a strong character to begin with in the first episode. So then we also get a really strong connection to Mikage, which is his best friend. And they made a pact that they would never abandon each other. So Mikage is more of a laid back person. He's kind of almost like the opposite of Taito, which I guess is why they are such a good match to be friends to begin with. But he's very protective of Taito. And he's like, they almost treat each other like brothers, which is, to me, pretty good, because given in the 20 minutes they're already having to be separated after being together for so many years. So for that, I give it a 7 out of 10, because there were some characters where I would have liked to have known a little bit more about them or get a little bit more about their character. Like the commander, you can kind of tell he's very harsh and he's very like unforgiving, and he just seems like he has to be in control of everything, and he will be. He's strong, and he just has no mercy. So those 3 characters were the strongest, but there were a couple of characters that I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about. Like there were a couple of classmates that we did see that kind of seemed even more arrogant. And I don't know, it just seemed like the battle sequence that happened might have happened a little bit too fastly for me. It would have been kind of interesting to see those other classmates maybe partake in it just a little bit more, even though they weren't as good as the others, obviously. So for that, I gave it a 7 out of 10, because there is strong character development, but there is some that I would like to see a little bit more of. And then we go to the scene design. And the scene design for me was, for that first episode, it's okay. But one thing that I was kind of curious about, okay, so there's this big academy, but we don't really know where we are. We only know that we are in an academy that trains students to become soldiers and see if they can pass this exam so they can actually be put in the army. But we don't know where this is at. Secret academy that maybe the world doesn't know much about. We don't really know. And we never really see that in the first episode that I'm aware of. I could have missed something, but the other thing is that this design, though, of the school is very massive. You can tell it's very structural. There's really big doors. You can tell how much detail was really put into developing this particular academy. And then the only other place we see in this episode is Taito's home place, but we only get a glimpse of it. What you can tell is it's some kind of home that probably caters to more than, a particular person. He almost looks kind of priestly, but I don't really know. And it seems like I've seen some of these episodes, but just forgot. But regardless, I gave it a 7 out of 10, because I'm still kind of wondering, okay, so where are we? I understand we're at an academy, but how is this in correlation to the world? So then we go to themes. Now, themes are large and broad, especially when it comes to a main theme, and a lot of the time it stretches out along the anime series. So because of that, I can't tell you what like this great deep hidden theme is just yet, but I can tell you the theme of the particular episode that we were on. And I really do believe that the theme is about true friendship, because Mikage could have just left his friend there in, the prison and just like, oh, well, he shouldn't have done what he did. He's in there for whatever reason. But no, he didn't really care why Taito was in there. When he did come to take Taito and try to help him escape, he even sees that Taito killed the guards, and he's actually astounded. But even in that instance, he doesn't hesitate. He grabs Taito's hand, and they take off, and he tries to help him escape. Now, we can tell that Mikage put himself at risk to help Taito, which goes back to that pact that they made. So, in my opinion, I believe that the theme of this particular episode is just about how friendship can survive anything, and that your true friends will stick up for you regardless of what kind of trouble that you might be in. They may not agree with what you do, but they're not just going to dump you on the side of the road. So I gave that a 10 out of 10, because that's a good message. I mean, people should always put friendship on a really, I guess, like a higher pedestal than some of the other things that sometimes we put on a high pedestal. But anyways, this goes to the final thing. As you know, anime specifically and TV shows have intro and outro, like a mini music video that kind of helps touch a little bit of what the series might, involve. The outro might be kind of like a mellow thing. It just depends, The intro clips to this, you're getting like this really hardcore rock song. It's really upbeat, it's interesting, action-packed. It makes you wonder about what these powers are. And when I say this power, the students and the commanders in the army, and I don't know if this is everybody in the world, but these particular people have some kind of power. It's really weird, like these symbols all of a sudden show up when they use this power and surround them, kind of circular. Revolve around them. That's kind of strange, and that part I don't really understand yet, but it kind of makes you wonder, so is this magic? Is this something technical? Is this something that was embedded in them? And why do we see symbols? Like, it's very rare, in my opinion, that you would see a magic in the form of like symbols, that mini symbols particularly. But we see also some kind of priests, and it looks like they're transforming into something different, or they have like parts of their body that transform. Like one of them has like these really big bony wings that just pop out of his back, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And you just see really odd transformations in these priestly looking people, and I don't know if they really are priests. The outro is a bit odd though. It is a slower pace song, which isn't bad because it kind of picks up the pace later, but you see a lot of clips, but during seeing these clips, it's almost like the camera is underwater and you're not really sure why, you don't really know where this is going, but it ends you where a priest is sitting at the edge of a fountain, and before that there's like a little mermaid that swims up, and I guess it's like in the ocean because it's weird. It kind of like transforms from that to the priest sitting on the edge of the fountain. So because that was a little bit of, confusing, I mean, it is a decent outro, and maybe it's just because I don't understand a lot of it right now, but I did give it a 7 out of 10. And the intro and outro clips, that rating will probably stay the same unless I learn something different, or until there is a new intro or outro, because as we know in anime series sometimes they change those, which is nice. But I gave it a 7 out of 10. So with all these put together, I had an average of an 8.7 out of 10 for this anime so far. Well, just this first episode. So I thought that was interesting. So the next time that we see 07 Ghost episode 2, I'm going to try to do a reaction video to it instead of a review, and we'll see how that goes. But let's get on. So our last roll. Are we going to get to open something or watch something? Doesn't really matter. Oh my gosh! It's another number 4! So that means... So for our last and final part of the Holiday Extravaganza, we got another review, so we're going to do a review of a book that I just finished. But first, look back there at Mrs. Keepers, who's laying down and just enjoying things. Again, I'm sorry about my background right now. I'm pretty much having to make do with what I have because my cats are basically controlling the table, but that should change soon. And hopefully they won't be afraid to get on the floor. Right now, like I said, we have a small problem, but we're getting rid of it slowly. So the book I read was The Amorous Heiress by Carrie Alexander. And I'm just going to do a general review and then read an excerpt. And then we'll get to the outro of this video and giveaway. So I'm just going to do a quick synopsis, pretty much. Generally, this book is about a rich woman named Gussie, whose grandparents want to arrange her marriage, and Gussie doesn't seem very happy about that, but I don't see why anybody would be. but it's probably something to do with tradition. Gussie gets tired of the same routine of which her grandmother pretty much forces her to do and desires to break free from this prison. She wants to be a new Gussie. She doesn't want to be the little mouse that always does what everybody tells her to do, which is actually used in there for symbology. But her grandfather is very strict, and her grandmother wants to pick the guy that she is to marry, which she wants Gussie to marry a guy named Andrews Lowell. But she doesn't love him, so it just doesn't seem right to her. Like, she's almost at the point in one part of the book where she wants to, like, run away and everything. But anyways, so normally her grandmother invites I guess like suitors or candidates that she feels would be a good option for Gussie, but she highly puts Andrews on a really large pedestal. And obviously Gussie wants to look at others. Well, there was this new guy that she seen walk into their house, and before that she saw him outside, and she noticed how muscular he was and just a really good build of like figure wise, and she was attracted to him. So she goes downstairs thinking that her grandmother invited this guy as maybe someone new, a new suitor, and she goes and she flirts with him. And the guy's name is Jed, and he tells her, so I guess something about an interview process. I can't really remember exactly, but what ends up happening is Gussie finds out that Jed is actually their new gardener, and she even told Jed that she had the final decision about him. So it really embarrassed her when she found out the truth. And then she apologizes to Jed later, to whom he refers to her as the amorous Harris, because she has so many suitors. But really, Gussie doesn't throw herself at these people too much. There's only been like one guy that she had like a small, I guess, fling with, and if I'm not mistaken, that might have been Andrews, but she just doesn't love him. She knows that. And the story follows these two characters, Gussie and Jed, on their journey. So now I'm going to do a little review of certain elements. So the storyline, it makes sense with the setting, but I feel like the novel is based on past notions, and you don't really see the mention of cell phones or TVs. So it has to happen in a time frame where those things were very limited, and the story adequately fits this because it focuses on gardening, competitions, and love, and things that I guess in the era of electronic evolution didn't really have. And there is a lot of, conflict with the family and just different things. So I gave the story an 8 out of 10 because it's decent, but it's not like, oh my god, I want to read this again. And I'm actually kind of surprised I gave it an 8 out of 10 because this book was not like one of my favorites, but it did hold some comical moments, and it did kind of teach me, different writing techniques for books that I could use for my books in the future. But just to make this very clear, I do not write, purely romance novels, and nor is a romance novel my favorite genre. I just happen to have these books that were my aunt's, and I thought I would give them a read as she is no longer with us, and just kind of, I guess, explore the different types of things that she was into as well. But the setting is okay, and it fits the story, what I was saying before, of like previous or past traditions. And the details in the setting are they're precise and somewhat simple, but they function well for the story. And I feel like that's something that is important. And the detail follows feelings, which is a really strong concept in the novel. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. And then we get to the cover art, which gets a 5 out of 10. And the reason for this is yes, this is, colorful. It looks like this would be, what the book is about, and you see two guys. Well, in my opinion, the book does not describe Gussie as a person who just throws herself at men. She does, however, really desire Jed, and, she does let him not really take advantage of her, but kind of do as he pleases sometimes because she loves him and she feels the same way that he feels for her. But I feel like the cover kind of makes her appear that she just throws herself at everybody, and that's not really how I perceive her to be. So we do find that they let each other be a little bit more open to each other, Jed and Gussie. So I'm assuming one of them is probably Andrews, and she just doesn't really like that dude. So the next element would be style. So I guess some of the style that you could say is that the style focuses on, tradition and past time periods, and it does kind of work for her style because she kind of writes in a style where things are focusing on feelings, irony, and symbolism. She uses a mouse to describe Gussie as just being a small, meek creature that follows orders, which I'm not really sure that a mouse only does that, so it does kind of make me question it a little bit. But it, like the symbolism and the comparison of that, I don't really feel like that was the best choice. But I mean, it does kind of at least give you a sense of how small she feels. But they also, Carrie Alexander, the author who wrote this, used surprise elements too to kind of throw conflict and tension in the families between Jed and her, sometimes almost getting caught being together, which would make her grandmother just flip out. And it kind of serves as a page turner type thing in that aspect. But I feel like there could have been more things that could have been done as well as far as style goes, but I did forget irony, which Jed keeps telling himself that he does not love her. He will not fall for this Amherst Harris, but in reality, he loves her. And I gave that the techniques, like in the style, a 6 out of 10 because I kind of feel like there were some things missing, or they could have went a little bit more in detail or used maybe some stronger symbols to actually describe things. And then the character development gets a 10 out of 10. And the reason I say this is Gussie is not the same person at the end of the novel. And that is good character development when you're not the same person, or you don't suspect the same thing from a character. And even Jed kind of changes too. So their journey through is developing themselves and understanding their feelings as well. And that's important in character development. You need to know this character as if they were someone who was real, even though they're not. And then the grandparents have some strong characteristics, but they're not as well developed, but they're still strong. Like, one thing I did like about this novel is a lot of the smaller characters did have really strong aspects in character development. Not as much as the main characters, but it was enough, and it was really well written to kind of show you how these people act. For instance, the butler Thwaite, he's kind of always in everything. He's nosy and he appears out of nowhere, and I don't know, it's kind of interesting in that aspect. So I gave that a 10 out of 10. The theme I gave an 8 out of 10. The novel theme to me seems to be about numerous things. Love, development in life, accepting who you really are, but not being afraid to express that part of yourself. And at first, Gussie is very afraid to express herself in a different manner, afraid that her grandparents wouldn't accept her. So in the end, we see a very big development. I don't want to ruin the books. I'm not going to say everything, but Another theme that I thought was, as parents should not meddle in a child's love life. And I don't really want to say a child's because it's not really child. I guess it would be more like a young adult's love life. Unless it's an emergency. If you see that they're killing themselves, or this person is abusing them, and like there are circumstances that you might have to intervene with something like that. But if it's just because you don't like the person because of their attitude or their sex or their viewpoints, that's not really a reason, or because they're not rich, that's not a reason to get involved in your, children's love life. Because that moment is beautiful and important, and if you realize that for yourself and you actually had that for yourself, you would want that for your children. And marriage shouldn't be about just convenience or tradition. It should be about people who can accept a person at their worst, give love and forgiveness, but also live happily together. It shouldn't be like some crazy train ride either, where you're constantly arguing and don't really accomplish anything either. So I mean, there is some development though. I mean, no marriage ever has no arguing. That's not what I mean at all, or has any arguing. So I gave that an 8 out of 10. And then we go to the actual description, which I'm going to just touch lightly on, because most of the description, I think, were in the actions of the people and what they did or what they saw or what they tasted. It wasn't really so much about what was around them, except for maybe the garden and the big house that they lived in. And I thought she did very well explaining actions that people did, and it made you feel like you knew the character a little bit more. But I did give it an 8 out of 10 because I would have kind of liked to seen a little bit more description in other areas, like perhaps maybe like where are they? And maybe they mentioned that, but I can't really remember. I don't remember there being any name of a town or, even a state or in that time period where they might have even been. And of course, I don't really think that is the importance of the story, because it really follows Jed and Gussie, but it does kind of help to know where these people are, their surroundings, and a little bit more as to what kind of life they're living there. So I just knocked off a few points for that. So now we move on to names in the novel. Like, are the names relatable? Are they okay? Do I like them or not? And I will say that most of the names in the novel I did not like. They didn't make sense to me. Secondly, they felt odd when I was trying to say them. So, like, the last name of Gussie's family, Throckmorton, I don't know, I don't like that name. It seems like you're kind of trying to hiccup to say it, and I don't know, to me it didn't work. It was odd to say, and it just seems off. Gussie, the name of the main character, also seemed kind of off to me as well, although her character was not normal. They were odd. Unique is the word I want to use, and her name is unique too. I didn't personally like the name. And then I also didn't like the names Thwaite and Marion. I don't really know why, but Thwaite, I don't know, it's just really odd to say, and like, I don't know his background. To me, I feel like that name seems kind of more foreign, and I do think I vaguely remember hearing or reading something about it, but I just don't remember it fully. But I still don't feel like I knew enough for him to be called Thwaite. I don't know. And then Marion seems, I don't know, Marion fits I think it's the grandmother's name, and that can kind of fit in, I think, this time period and the complexity of their family is really rich and proper. So, I mean, the only name that I actually really liked was Jed, because it was simple, easy to remember, and Gussie was okay, but I just didn't like it too much. But because the names to me kind of threw me off, especially when I started reading this book, I gave it a 3 out of 10. Because when you read a book, you should kind of feel like, you shouldn't feel like you're bouncing around in the beginning with names. And I guess that can also be based on personal preference as well, because I know I use some really strange Japanese names sometimes, but they make sense in the fact that if you look them up, that's what they mean. Maybe I should just looked up some of these. I don't know. But the title of the book is, in my opinion, it fits the book. So I gave that an 8 out of 10 because Jed gave Gussie the nickname the Amorous Harris. So I think that the novel title fits the story because it mostly revolves around her and her development and how Jed gave her that nickname and also helps her become stronger. And then my last one was the dialogue. And I did give that an 8 out of 10 because it does feel realistic. You know, when you're with the family and you're talking with some of them, Gussie is talking to them, you can tell that it's more proper, it's more strict and kind of uptight. And the essence of that, it's, you can tell there's really upheld tradition with what they should do. And then when she talks to someone like Jed, you can see that happy, free-flowing, go-lucky type personality pop out in her and him. And you can tell that it's not so proper, and it's not all about rules or tradition. And the cool thing about their love is it's actually not traditional normally, but that doesn't really matter to them, and they do what they believe should be done. So I think that it also brings out character development. So I thought that was done really well. So before we end the video, I'm going to do a really small excerpt, or I hope it's small. I don't really know how far we're going to go. But The Amorous Harris by Carrie Alexander. Chapter 1, The Mouse and the Matriarch. Augustina Fairchild threw open the chintz curtains with a theatrical flourish and stepped up to the center of the window. The old saying was trite but true. This was the first day of the rest of her life, and from now on she was not only going to direct the show, she was going to play the starring role. She raised the window and took a deep breath. The morning was sunny and clear. Even though she couldn't see the ocean from her second-floor bedroom at the front of Throckmorton Cottage, she could hear the crash of the surf and smell its salty tang mixed with the scents of sweet lavender from the garden and of the pungent piney wood beyond. Her view was as familiar as ever: dark tree tops, the long green lawn bordered by a terrace wall, straight gravel paths that converged at a small fountain, then the sheared mounds of boxwood, and, closest to the house, the herbaceous borders, skeins of color glistening with dew. It was only her inner viewpoint that had changed. "You go, girl," she said out loud, trying to bolster herself for the challenge ahead. The present-day vernacular didn't suit either Augustina or the Gilded Age sensibilities of Throckmorton Cottage. Keep on wanting to say college. But there you were. It was time for her to stop changing to suit the family estate and its inhabitants. Well past time. She rested her hands on the sun-warmed sill. She was almost 25 years old, and she was as useless as her grandmother's Victorian gimcracks and biblots, which I should have looked that up because I have no idea what that is. But the Victorian thing actually does prove kind of an older historic moment, I believe. In other words, strictly decorative, cluttering things up and collecting more dust with each passing day. Her major accomplishments up to now had been overseeing the garden and the aid of a part-time gardener, so that hardly counted, and finally finishing the needlepoint rug she'd worked on for 1 year, 2 months, and 15 days. Not a lot to be proud of when she considered that one of her classmates from Miss Fibbing White's had already married and gestated and launched a sideline career designing amusing little handbags that had been featured in Vogue. Another was in Brazil, protecting rainforests. Augustina, Gussie to them, had received postcards. Even the awful Phoebe Beecham had been photographed with Duchess Fergie for the tabloids, whereas Gussie's greatest social triumph up to now had been her appointment as head of the Garden Close Regatta refreshment table. She looked at the oval, flower-patterned rug carelessly tossed over the back of a skirted slipper chair. Yesterday had been stormy. She'd been stuck inside all afternoon with Grandmother Throckmorton. Sitting in the library before the fire, Gussie had stitched the last stitch and knotted the last knot, then knelt to lay the completed piece across the faded baize carpet. Grandmother had set aside her own needlepoint project and reached down to smooth a wrinkle from the rug. "There you go, Augustina," she'd said, so pleasantly smug and snug in the contrast that Augustina had felt positively itchy with undefined yearnings. "Wasn't all that hard work worth the effort? Doesn't producing something too pretty and practical give you an immense sense of accomplishment?" Suddenly, irrationally, she wanted to explode. She wanted to stand up and shout "No!" at the top of her lungs, though of course she contained herself. She always did. The sheer inertia of playing the obedient granddaughter had her at its grips, and besides, Grandmother Throckmorton considered shouting shockingly rude. Gussie had tamped down her rebellion, rolled up the rug, and gone meekly to bed. She hadn't slept. She flopped from stomach to spine and squiggled from side to side until 2 a.m., when she'd opened her eyes and made her mind, once and for all, that she was going to take charge of her life. For real. She didn't want to wake up 30 years from now and discover herself to be a carbon copy of Grandmother Throckmorton, rigid, stern, and so comfortably settled that her life had absolutely no excitement, little turbulence, or complication, and certainly no surprise. Starting first thing in the morning, Augustina Isabel Throckmorton Fairchild, oh Lord, what a name, would change her life. Settling on the exact details of how she should go about doing so hadn't occurred to her until the alarm clock awakened her at 7 o'clock on the dot, as it had every morning for the past 4 years. Then she remembered her doubts and an inconvenient tidbit she'd learned at a boarding school science class. One of the properties of inertia, in this case Gussie's, was that she would continue to carry out her uniform motions unless acted upon by an outside force. She wasn't sure that the cycle could be broken by strength from within, especially when her own force of will had up to now mustered barely enough strength to refuse oatmeal at breakfast. Augustina knew that change would take a certain courage of conviction. Having never found the need to develop courage, or, for the matter, conviction, she certainly didn't know how to acquire it at this late date. Growing up, she'd found it easiest to behave in an agreeable and placeable manner and be rewarded by her grandparents for being a good girl. She'd known from the cradle that she wasn't glamorous and flamboyant like April, She'd known from the cradle that she wasn't glamorous and flamboyant like April, her older sister, nor was she sophisticated and adventurous like her globe-trotting parents. She was Gussie, plain old Gussie, quiet and solid as a rock, often overlooked, which rocks usually were until someone tripped over them. Now see, that's actually a better symbolic. Rocks. I think that does work pretty well for her in this instance. Well, she'd stumbled and fallen flat on her face last night and hadn't liked it at all, so the alternative was clear. She must change her life. She must find a way to defy her grandmother's expectations, not to mention her grandfather's. At the thought of the grandfather 2 doors away, Gussie conscientiously turned back to close the window before going down to breakfast. Elias Quincy Throckmorton was 94, bedridden, hard of hearing, riddled with cataracts and gout, but he could sense within minutes if there was a window open anywhere on the second floor. One can say he was a draft savant, but he was also the undeniable head of the household. Even grandmother deferred to him and Gussie. Gussie positively quaked in his presence. Sliding the window shut, she glimpsed at a figure in white crossing the terrace lawn from the direction of the parking court. Sunshine reflected off blonde hair. Andrew's Lowell, she thought, not without a touch of condescension. Andrews was grandmother's chosen suitor for Andrews was grandmother's chosen suitor for Augustina's fair hand. He was almost as reliable and rock-like as Gussie herself, and though having Andrews to count on was convenient, it was hopelessly predictable. 50-odd years ago, Marion May Andrews had married E.Q. Throckmorton Jr. and eventually became known, at least to Gussie and her sister, as Grandmother with a capital G. So if Augustina Fairchild were to complete the circle by marrying Andrews Lowell 50 years from now, Gussie would become... She shuddered she shuddered delicately. It was too gruesome a future to She shuddered delicately. It was too gruesome a future to contemplate. As she double-checked the window, since great-grandfather would know if even a cubic inch of fresh air made its way inside, Gussie's gaze was again drawn by a movement on the gravelled path. Another male figure was approaching the house, but this one was unknown to her. She blinked, absolutely unknown. Thrillingly so. The stranger, and there weren't many of them in tiny Sheep's Head Bay, Maine. Yeah, see, I must have missed that. It's not mentioned enough for me to remember that. Sheepshead Bay, Maine. At least we know where we're at now. Except during tourist season was reminiscent of the type of male that the teenaged Gussie and April had been warned about by both grandmother and headmistress at Miss Fibbing White's. Naturally, that meant April had carried on a forbidden flirtation with every stable boy in black leather jacket townie who sneaked past their chaperones. For her part, Gussie had only admired the type from afar, and developed the kind of inappropriate fantasy life even Grandmother Throckmorton couldn't control. Not that this man looked disreputable exactly. He just didn't look like anyone Gussie had ever made to acquaintance of. He was too rugged, too rangy, too male. Practically a foreign species in Gussie's experience of overly whoppish trust fund milksops like Andrews Owls. Andrews Owls, that's so funny. Like Andrew Lowell's. Particularly a foreign species in Gussie's experience of overly whoppish trust fund milksops like Andrews Lowell. Which was probably why her nose was squashed against the window pane. She forced herself to step back, then leaned closer again, squinting to make out the details. Hold on, she muttered to the stranger, darting to her nightstand to retrieve her glasses. She slipped on the gold wire frames and rushed back to the window. Ah, yes, he was still there. In fact, he was kneeling beside one of the peonies that flanked the broad front steps, rooting about in the mulch. How strange. Perhaps he dropped something. She hoped not a wedding ring. So, I'm going to stop here, because as you can tell, it takes a while to get to the other stuff, and we're almost hitting like 30 minutes with this review. And if you guys are interested, you can pick up the book yourself or maybe offer a trade, because I can tell you right now I won't be keeping this book. But look at what Mrs. Kibbles is doing now. What are you doing? So anyways, if you haven't had your own fortune cookie for the day, because today is fortune cookie day, what you should do is go out and get a fortune cookie, crack that thing open, and see what kind of fortune you get. Okay, for this particular giveaway, I'm actually going to do something special because I've been doing a lot of mystery boxes. But my brother donated this to be given away. So I thought, well, this would be a perfect opportunity. It's a kind of a longer based video. We're celebrating a holiday. So let's give something pretty generous. Yes, you are seeing a original base set, Japanese base set, holographic Zapdos, donated by my brother. So that's not all though. I am giving also these 2 common cards to go along with it. So if you're interested and you've seen everything that we've done so far in this video, comment below and let me know what you think about the new Holiday Extravaganza setup for the, just what I can do currently. And let us know what either your favorite pool was, if we did something like that in the pre-recording, or if you liked a specific show or episode, if you checked out the episode that I reviewed or not. And what did you think about getting a dollar bill signed by an awesome band from Finland? I think that is really sick. Until next time, you guys enjoy your week and happy treasure hunting.